Hi there. Welcome to Instagram and Facebook page and YouTube Live and also on Twitch right now. So 4 different platforms. This is Ona Indigo here in Oakland, California, streaming live for you. And my project is called No Accordion. And our mission is celebrating diversity by amplifying extraordinary voices to form a deeper understanding and connection that promotes equal opportunity for all, transforming fear, anxiety, anger, hatred into love, compassion, creativity, and sensitivity. And a few other things is we want to spark inquiry and raise awareness and encourage mindfulness. I want to encourage you all to please subscribe to my YouTube channel. And that's the best way to stay in touch with the latest music and latest behind the scenes and lives that we're doing. So today I am going to talk to you, I'm going to bring it up a little bit in the background, about a song called Change is Constant. And I wrote this around 2009, 2010. It's from my first EP that I produced with Sean Inglesby in Ojai, California. And I'd say this song is the most esoteric of them, and it talks about permaculture, principles, and it was inspired by permaculture. Now, I know some of you are probably familiar with permaculture and other people are not. There's many different definitions, but one I love is it's revolution designed as gardening. So it is gardening principles. You know, when you take a permaculture design course or you get into permaculture at any depth, it does talk quite a lot about things that we could call gardening or at least sustainable design. But the principles behind those design methods are revolutionary, and they involve a lot of common sense, and they can be applied to anything, including, you know, how you run your finances. It's powerful stuff. And this month I'm devoting to it's Earth. It's just Earth Day, so we're thinking about Mother Earth, and I would say that permaculture is definitely a design system that understands the intricate relationships of nature and how much nature has to teach us. In fact, a lot of its principles are based upon observation of the natural world. And it feels a lot of the time the permaculture principles are they're very much common sense. But when you read through them, you need to be reminded. It seems that we as humans have forgotten a lot of things that are very much about just common sense. Now, I also, every week on my Instagram, I talk about a woman who inspires me. And this week I chose Penny Livingston, who is a permaculture designer and also a natural builder. And I was lucky enough to meet her in the 2000s when I was in a teacher training program. And I got to also visit her little homestead in Point Reyes, Northern California, where she had built quite a few sweet little natural buildings. And I found her a very happy, smiley, and revolutionary human being that has inspired me a lot. I'm going to talk through the lyrics of the song now. So it goes, well, the song is called Change is Constant. And from my life experience, I would say that the only constant that is change. And that to me kind of signifies what life is. That life force is that fact that we're alive. Things are always changing. We're these waves, these pulses. And it goes, release the fear of the unknown. I think that's one of the largest challenges that we as humans face, is how to feel the fear, but then release it. I mean, especially when it comes to something that's unknown. I mean, why put the energy towards the fear of something you don't even know what's going to happen? I love this idea that, we have just, two things to choose from, fear or love. Do you go towards the fear or do you go towards the love? I'd say also in this current times, middle of a pandemic, we don't really know what's going on. I mean, so much stuff is happening politically. So much stuff has been brought more into awareness, and there's so much unknown. And it's not worth dwelling in the fear of it. So release the fear of the unknown. Embrace the chaos of life. Also realize that life is much greater than a little human. Like, we're really tiny in the large picture of things. So when I hear embrace the chaos of life, it's like embrace also the flow of life, because it's much bigger and greater. Like, it's like kind of we're a tiny little speck in the ocean. Like, we don't really have control over the flow. So we have to learn to like release and go with it. Like, I think I've spent a lot of my time going against my flow. The next is trust in the power of nature. And I see, that awe and the power of nature, and it like, as far as permaculture goes, there's like so many things to be learned about design and design principles through how nature does things. Then it says change is the only constant. And I've come to believe that's true. The chorus goes, in eternity, there is no time, you see. Eternity is a mere moment, long enough for a joke, long enough for a joke. And for me, it's how does one find the calm within the chaos? And it's being in the moment. So eternity, which is forever, or moment, which is the smallest amount of time, they're somewhat the same thing. And then long enough for a joke, just have a laugh. Like, there's so many moments in this day that try to laugh more. The next verse goes, forever staying in balance. Patterns in nature are intricate. Say, trust nature. It finds its own balance. We are part of this entire system. When we don't work in harmony with it, when we don't understand how it all works together and we're all one, we get out of balance. And patterns in nature are intricate. They really are. They are so refined and so delicate and so minutely different. Like, if you look at the patterns in any kind of like flower, there's a certain repetitiveness, but every single thing is somewhat unique. And then at the same, the sentence goes afterwards, the verse says, human design is simplistic. And I think that the human mind, especially nowadays, we're rushing around doing so much, has gotten way too complacent, and it's not observing the intricacy of things. It's simplifying, oversimplifying things. And it's and then the next thing I say, and once again, permaculture is based upon this. Observe nature. Life's lessons are there. Life's lessons are there. Life's lessons are there. It's saying very important lessons, key design principles, key concepts, common sense. It's right there in front of you. It's nature. It's everywhere you go. Get out in nature, get quiet, and observe. Really observe what's going on. And once again, in eternity, there is no time, you see. Eternity is a mere moment, long enough for a joke. Long enough for a joke. Once again, let's bring us back. Eternity, forever, a moment, the shortest amount of time, one and the same thing. Don't take it too seriously. Long enough, have a laugh. There's a few other key permaculture principles I wanted to talk about before we dive into the song. One is think globally, act locally. I absolutely love that one. And you can't think about it. I mean, that is so current to our pandemic situation right now. So think globally, meaning realize that you're part of a larger whole. Like we all inhabit this earth together. And in some respects, I can't think of how more obvious it is that we're all sharing this virus. But that realize that you're part of the whole, but start first and foremost locally. Start really working with what you got. And this, I think we had to all stay home more. We had to get to know our neighbors. We had to really narrow it down to, what do we really support on a local level and build it up from the ground, but always realize that you're part of a larger whole. I think that's a powerful concept to keep in mind. So these are all, permaculture design principles, concepts that you can apply to any design situation. Another concept I enjoy is called the edge effect. And that I'll explain in gardening terms, but it can be in terms of neighborhood boundaries, any type of boundary. It says that the edge of two different environments. So let's say the land versus a pond, where those two environments meet, that has like twice the amount of diversity that the other environments on their own have. And it just creates this amazingly cool, rich environment. And I find that also culturally in cities when certain areas and certain races and certain cultures overlap. And it keep in mind that sometimes you want to increase the amount of edge so you can increase the amount of that kind of fertile mixture of ground. I love the idea of food forest, so the idea of understanding a system and observing nature a lot so you understand how a forest functions, how, they're the trees, there are different ages of trees, different types of trees. Is it a deciduous forest? Is it an evergreen forest? Where is it located? And then what other things grow underneath? And if you want to take advantage of the edge effect, you can put it along a meadow and play with, what would be growing then in the meadow in front of the forest? And then with those designs in mind, and keeping in mind a lot, the native plants, but not only native plants, but also thinking about the climate and the microclimate that you're designing in, and which plants would be the right ones to use, and what relationships do they have with each other. Start to come up with a plan, like a 10-year plan. If you're going to be establishing trees as well, then yeah, you want to plant your trees the first year you establish this plan. And while you're putting this in, especially in the orchards and the forest that you will be adding, and you can do this on a very small plot and just have a tree or two, which is your forest. I love the two elements, the swales and mulching. So swales is a way where you would dig into a hillside and then create like contours and kind of create a ditch along the contour and then plant on the other side of the contour. And it will capture rain. It's a great way to, if you're in a climate you need to capture rain and water trees, and it really works really well. So, landscaping, build your swales, and then mulching, the whole concept that the earth doesn't want to remain barren. It's going to cover itself with something. So if you don't want certain plants to grow there, put some bark on it, cover up Mother Earth. It'll also help keep the moisture and all the nutrients in the soil. The next thing I want to go into is plant medicine, and how I've been working with plants since I was about 18, 19. First got into it in Italy, wild harvesting, and my best friend was a lay herbalist from the Alps. And she taught me how to make mainly teas and some grappas, which are like an alcohol tincture. And I went out actually in my garden today and I picked some plants. I was going to talk to you about a few plants, because plants are our medicine. And yeah, plants are our medicine, and we even, all this conventional medicine is full of is derived from plant form. Maybe we've chemically altered it a bit, but it's all these are our healers. So this is some of the stuff I've got growing in my garden right now. First one I'm going to show you is mint. It smells so good. So this loves the shade. It loves water. If it gets shade and water, it could go a little crazy. So I like to grow, I like to put it into a container sometimes. I use it a lot for like a mint tea. Supposedly it repels rodents. My sweetheart, she uses it for cooking. She kind of uses it like a basil leaf. And overall, it'll root really easily. I just absolutely love it. Next one I got going here is the rosemary. Oh yeah, mint's really good for like soothing nausea and calming the stomach, and yeah, overall just a very soothing, relaxing herb. Okay, next one, rosemary. I love this stuff. Extremely hardy perennial, meaning that it's a kind of a shrub that grows for many years. And it smells really good. I like it. I think it was like in a Mediterranean herb. I mean, there's lots of cultures that use it. I love it roasted with vegetables, especially roasted with potatoes. I've heard it actually has like a pick-me-up quality to it and a clarity, and it's good for the mind and the brain. And it as well is very easy to grow. I mean, as long as there's a bit of water, you can actually just take one of these, stick it in the earth, and down to about there. If you want, you can strip some of these bottoms up once you stick it in. As long as it stays moist enough, it should root. Okay, next ones. We have nasturtiums. So these nasturtiums, this is the time of year that they're flowering. They tend to be like a yellow, orange, or red. And they're an annual, so they self-seed themselves, meaning when they die off, they do seed, so they come back every year. And they're edible. The leaf is kind of peppery. I made a raw beetroot and carrot and nasturtium leaf. And the flowers are edible too, which is really yummy because the flower looks so pretty in a salad. Ooh, this one. Oh, we got a little limpy. This is datura. Datura, a very traditionally a very psychedelic plant. I think you take the root and boil it. I mean, it sounds way too intense. I don't think I'd ever experiment with it as a plant medicine in that way, but it's absolutely beautiful. And I've been told that even if it's close to your bedroom, like outside, it'll give you weird dreams. So this is in my garden. Upside down, really beautiful trumpet flowers. Pretty large shrub. Oh, and then this one. A little floppy. This is a fig leaf. This fig leaf is, look at how beautiful that is. Oh, and they had to be so careful with that fig leaf. In that Bible, I guess this would cover up your private parts. It's quite a big leaf. Love the figs are ready in about August or September. And the fig tree is pretty easy to root. Like you can take, I should have brought maybe one, but it kind of has sprouts up along the side, or you can take a cutting for it and put it in a slightly like sandy soil. Keep it moist, but you want it draining all the time. It should root within a month or two. And I like, the fig tree, you can actually has good fruit right from the rooted fig too. It's not like the apples or the peaches or plums, things that have to be grafted. Two more things left in my little basket. Oh, some kind of succulent. I'm not really sure what kind of succulent this is, but I just wanted to bring, succulents, one of my favorite plants. They're so easy to look after. They prefer the sun, but they can handle the shade as well. They're extremely hardy. They're the type of plant, if you don't normally like looking after plants, I mean, this is the one, if you go away for 6 months, this is the one you come back, it'll still be alive. Love these succulents. Hardy, hardy plants. And super psychedelic and weird looking when there's a lot of them together. And then the last one I'm going to show you here from my garden. Sage, white sage. My favorite. I like all the sages. I don't cook with this one, but this is the one that traditionally would be like in a smudge stick. And I'm growing it in my backyard. The smell is intoxicating. So I use this a lot to bless and clear a space before I'll do a ceremony or a podcast or anything, you know, blessing and clearing humans too as well. Oh, it's intoxicating. All right. So that's my plants. So what I was going to do now is I'm going to play you the song and switch you to another screen here. I think I might leave you. I don't know. Instagram's funny. It's such a bright. I don't know if you're going to see it that well. Okay, so yes. So now we're going to play the song. change is the only constant. So thank you for joining me today. I just want to say that if you would like to stay in touch, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. That's where our latest lives and latest tracks. We got a new album coming out. We're working on some music videos. And then I do this Friday Night Live, 6 PST, every Friday night. And next week, we're doing Earth Month. It's called Little Birdies is the track I'm going to talk about, featuring Taj Angelo. And that song is about enjoying those little birds and staying in the present. So once again, release the fear of the unknown. You know, I recommend that. So change is the only constant. So release the fear of the unknown. Until next week, thank you and see you next